Hey, this is Matt Baxley, aka Moot Booksley, and I'm your guest today on Music Studio Live.
Rolling. Here we go.
Hi guys, my name is Darrell. I'm a drummer and producer, and I started a podcast with my friend Sarah called Music Studio Live. Together we talk with singer-songwriters and music makers about all things related to music. We hope you enjoy the show, and here we go. Hello, and welcome to Music Studio Live. I'm Darrell Nutt.
And I'm Sarah Hadeka.
I always do something with my hands. I don't know why. I'm a hand person. I don't know what that means either.
You're a drummer,
that could
so
be
you're
I'm
always,
a drummer. Okay, that's right.
That's the way it is.
This is going to be an awesome episode of Music Studio. You know, I feel like I'm too excited when I say this. How about I'm going to talk like regular people talk? I'm very happy to present this episode. That's not how I talk either.
No, that's not. What are you doing?
I don't know. I feel like I have like a 10% energy boost when I do these, when we do the podcast.
Well, that's good.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, we have Matt Baxley on the episode.
Yes.
And he's been a friend of ours for quite a long time, but recently in the last year, I've gotten a lot closer with him because we've been playing together on Wednesdays. We have a steady gig that we do as a duo. And he's a multi-instrumentalist.
He's crazy.
But he plays, regular keyboard, but it's not even regular keyboard. He does effects, and he's got these pedals underneath him. He's doing all kinds of crazy stuff with pedals. He plays a synthesizer up here. He plays left-hand bass on this keyboard.
Yeah.
And
how does he do that? I mean, he has to
and he sings like really good.
Compartmentalize his brain in 6 different ways, I think, to be able to do everything.
It's unbelievable.
It's crazy.
And he's a real deep dude in a good way though. He's a fun-loving, deep thinking person. We did 2 songs with him for this episode, and I'm just so happy to be playing music with this guy. I love playing with you too. Don't get me wrong. But I love making music with this guy. All right, it's a man crush,
fine.
I guess.
I love you too, Darrell.
Oh, see, I made her say it, I guess. Anyway, there is something I would like to bring up.
Okay.
Besides the Patreon.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking about that earlier today. Because it is like, oh, your Patreon subscription is renewed, every month basically. And it's really cool. We put all of these bloopers and fun extras up on this platform called Patreon, and you can subscribe to it. It's $3 a month.
$3.
And it gets you kind of inside access to Music Studio Live. It's the stuff that we don't put, on the...
it's not appropriate for the actual show.
Okay, if you want to say it like that, I was not going to say it that way.
That's why it's fun.
Right, it is. It's good stuff.
Actually, I've just finished editing this episode that you're watching now, and there are a ton of fun moments.
Oh, really?
Bloopers and silliness that are not in the show because they weren't while we were recording for real. It was behind the scenes stuff. But there's some really funny gems on this, so definitely sign up for our Patreon.
Yeah, there's a lot of moments where I almost fall out of my chair and stuff. So it's good. It's fun.
And there's also your first trip to Wawa, I think, is on the Patreon stuff.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That was kind of fun.
That was really
funny. Tell all of the guys out there.
Well, okay, so.
And ladies.
How do we you go to patreon.com. Right? /Slash Music Studio Live.
There you go.
You just go on there. It's so easy. And it helps support us with what we're doing.
Yeah, because we have no sponsors right now.
Nothing.
Oh, I'm so sad.
I know.
Oh.
So if you would want to sponsor us, just drop us an email or something.
What will help us get sponsors is if you subscribe to us on YouTube.
Totally. Please.
YouTube.com/Music Studio Live, and hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell, and then every time we have an episode, it'll show up in your little email or message
on
or,
your phone.
I don't know how people get it, but whatever.
Yeah, or on Apple Podcasts, you can subscribe that way. So every time a new episode comes up, it pops up on your phone that you have the ability to listen to something new. So it's great.
All of the audio versions are on all of the platforms for podcasts. The video version is only on YouTube.
Yes.
And that's so if you subscribe to both, that'd be great, the audio and the video version.
Yep.
So I had something actually on a gig with Matt last night. Our guest today and we did a gig last night. And something very, very strange happened at the end of the night. I've said this before, I'm 50 years old now. And I have had some enlightening experiences in the last 6 months, basically, of just looking at every situation in a different way.
Okay.
And this is what happened last night, and this is how I looked at it differently. There were a few people that came in at the end of the night, and we were on fire. We were having just a killer night, wonderful night. That's what I started to say. And these people were just giving us energy. We were playing. They were
I love that.
walking around us,
good.
like checking us out, watching Matt's keyboard, watching his fingers rather, and we were feeding off that energy, and we were on
that's
fire.
cool.
That's the best feeling when that happens. And we had that last Friday.
Yeah,
when
we
we
were at the
played
pub. That
together,
was
we
super
had
fun.
that with our buddy Ray that's on the podcast sometimes, and Jeremy. We
Mm-hmm.
will have him on at some point. So anyway, after we finished, we went over and talked to him,
Mm-hmm.
and two of the people were really awesome and really friendly and cool. And one of them just immediately out of the gate, bam, negativity. Just
Really?
not towards us. He loved what we were doing, but he just was putting down musicians, local musicians. And I had just got off the drum set and walked over to these people excited to talk
Yeah.
to them, and just like a punch in the face. And I actually stood up for myself, and he was talking about some of our friends, our local musician friends, in a very, very negative way. And I just said, look, these people are my friends, and I'm meeting you for the
Yeah,
first time,
interesting.
and you're telling me all this, how much you don't like my friends. I said, this
Yeah,
is
that's
weird.
weird.
I said, thank you for hanging out and supporting our music, but I'm walking away. And I just walked
Yeah.
away from the guy. It was
Yeah.
very strange.
Huh.
But it made me realize that there have been times, and it made me think about this on the way home. There have been times where maybe somebody isn't as talented as I want them to be, or they don't sing as good as I want them to sing, and they're on a gig,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe I've said something, and I don't know where they are in their journey. So
Well,
I have
right,
to
yeah.
put that in the consideration that maybe, let them feel out what they're doing. Let them experiment. Let them try things they can't yet do.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know when I was younger, not younger, now there's stuff I try to do and I can't do it.
Right, absolutely.
I'm not there yet, and it's still a journey. And by him being negative, it made me feel maybe I've done that in the past, where I've put somebody down and people walked away from me because I was given a negative vibe off.
No, I don't know if I could see you doing that, but
Well, you weren't
I see
there
what you're
because
saying.
I like the way you sing. Has that ever happened to you though? How do you approach negative people, or have you caught yourself kind of maybe?
I'm
Because
kinda
this guy was
funny.
coming from an ego. He was coming from
right. I wonder. This was at Space 39. I wonder if it's the same person that said something to me once at Space.
It's not
39.
the
I'm
same
kidding.
person. You told me
I'm
about that
joking.
person.
Yeah, but anyway, sometimes I dwell on things. So if somebody tells me something that,
it sticks with you.
yeah, and I'll think about it over and over and over again. But I don't know. I mean, honestly, I'm just I'm a pretty positive person, so I usually
are.
let things kind of roll off. I mean, the other night I played at a country club, which generally I try to not do because those people are like, for some reason, country club people are automatically negative. Like they show up to the concert with a bad attitude.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
And
I've
I'm
seen
not
that
sure
before.
why that is, but it's a trend that I've really noticed. It's like almost a sense of entitlement, and they feel that whoever's performing needs to do something to their exact expectations.
What that one person wants, whether you know how to do it or
it's very
not.
strange. So like the other evening when I was playing, actually there were these two women, and they were standing right in front of me, and they were talking about me. I don't know what they were saying, obviously, because I had my in-ear monitors in, and I couldn't really read their lips, but they were talking about me. And
Right in front of you.
right in front of me, and they were just staring at me, and it seemed as if they didn't realize that I noticed what
They
were
were judging you in
yeah,
front
it
of
was
you.
really weird. And it was almost like, does she know that like her dress is see-through? Like that was almost like what it seemed like. And
Could you see their facial expressions?
Yeah, it just seemed-
so
it
they
was
weren't
weird.
they weren't being positive.
it was weird. They were like snickering.
They were okay.
So anyway,
Mean Girls.
right, yeah. So I looked right at them, and I stopped what I was doing, and I just waved and said, "Hey," and they were like, and then they walked away from each other, and I never saw them the rest of the night. But and you know what? Like I kept playing, and it bothered me.
Yeah.
It kept bothering
Yeah.
me, and even it bothered me so much that I thought about it the next day, and I went somewhere to eat. This was yesterday, and I met this this girl where I was eating. I'd never seen her in my life, and I don't know why. She asked what I did, and I was talking to her, and I brought up those women. Like,
Wow.
why? And anyway, and she's just like, you know what? Some people just cannot handle when you are giving them your all, and it's such an amazing like light, and it's an experience that, you know, like they wouldn't get anywhere else. They just can't handle it, and they bring it to a dark place.
Yeah, that is, and it
So-
tends to be typically older people that I see that in.
Right.
My mom lives in a
Absolutely, I
park
agree.
with a lot of older people, and some of the jibber jabber is like always negative about,
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
I don't want to make this podcast intro be all negative.
No, but we're talking about how you come
you
out
step
of that,
above it.
because that's
I'm going to share one more thing, and you know who this person is, and I won't say their name, but I got done playing a gig, or when on break, playing a gig. Did you see that piece of food that just came out?
as long as it doesn't hit me, I'm cool.
I'll try to edit that out. I had got done playing with Matt again. Maybe Matt's the problem. No, no, definitely not. And we had another person playing with us, no, that's not what it was. I got this wrong. Let me start over. There's another situation where this happened to me, where I was playing with somebody and I got off the stage on the break, happy as hell. We had a great set, and she comes right up to me and she says, "I don't like the person you're playing with." I'm like, wow. I said, that's very strange, because I think he's awesome and the whole place is packed. Everybody loves what we're doing.
Right.
She's like, well, I don't like him. He takes over the show, and it's not what I like. And I'm like, well, you know, I thought of the club owner when I said this. I'm like, well, you can leave. If you don't like it, you don't need to be here. And she was on her way out anyway, and she'd already paid her tab. But it really ruined my whole freaking night.
Yeah, of course.
Because
Of course.
why would you ever go up to somebody and just say, you suck?
Yeah.
Why would you do?
I think you just leave.
Yeah.
And not say a word.
I mean, if I went to Wawa to get a coffee, and the guy behind the counter, and I'm like, you know what? You're really ugly. You're not attractive. And then I just left. Why that would ruin that guy's day?
Yeah, totally.
Why would you do that?
Absolutely.
And I even wrote this person on Facebook a message, and she's never responded to me. I just tried to explain it from where I'm coming from as an artist.
Right.
I had a great musically thing. I had a great time playing music. I get off the stage and I'm punched in the face again.
I know.
By somebody that thinks their
Well-
opinion is more important than everybody else's.
Well, I mean, but you also have to remember, though, we're playing at bars a lot of the time. People are drinking.
Of course, yeah.
You know, and who knows if they even remember what they say. You know?
Oh
the
yeah, I
next
might have sent
day.
that message to her, and she doesn't even know that
Right.
anything happened.
It's very possible.
I didn't even think about that. Well, see, there's another light to be shed on this.
Because that happens to me. Just kidding. No, I
have no idea
I
what
do
I
not
do
live
in the
my
bar.
life like that. But I mean, it's possible. I feel like people, they're just kind of uncensored sometimes. when we're in
Sometimes,
these
yeah.
places.
Okay. So with all of that said, I'm still a happy person. My voice cracked on that. And
Because you're lying. Just kidding.
I'm not lying. I'm a very happy person. I'm in a very good place right now. I'm very happy to be doing this podcast with you and our friends that come in. We have some great guests coming up
We just have so much fun.
this
It's
spring
great.
and summer. Yeah.
Yeah, we're excited.
Just watch the bloopers. You'll know all the
man.
fun we have. And, you know, this episode is not an explicit rating, and some of them will be, but the bloopers definitely will be, because
Yeah,
I'm letting all of that go without beeps, because it makes it's real life. It's really fun.
Yep. So subscribe to Patreon so you can watch it. I love it. Well, I hope you really, really, really love this episode. It's awesome. Matt Baxley is just incredible. Just a great, super talented musician, and just a really cool guy.
Yeah. And we learn a lot about religion and where he comes from and his work ethic and all kinds of different things about this just creative person.
Yep.
So hope you enjoy it. Let's say bye together. We've never done that before.
3, 2, 1.
Bye.
Bye.
That was funny.
That was super funny.
Giving up.
Would you like to have access to extra songs from our guests, photo galleries, bloopers and outtakes, and behind-the-scenes footage? Well, you can. You can go to patreon.com/musicstudiolive and select the Backstage Pass tier. It's only $3 a month, and you can have access to every bonus feature from every episode that we have. So, go now and get your Backstage Pass to Music Studio Live. Patreon.com/musicstudiolive.
You're tuned into Music Studio Live. Well, welcome to the podcast, Matt Baxley.
Hi.
Hey,
How you doing, man?
I'm great. How
Awesome.
you guys doing?
Well,
Amazing.
we just recorded a couple of Matt's songs, and they'll be played throughout the rest of the podcast here. I had a blast.
Oh, yeah, it was
too.
great.
And I've had the
was
pleasure
intense.
of working with you for coming up on a year now.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
has it been that long?
It's been a year.
Yeah.
And we do a thing called the Moots, which is based on Matt's name, Moot Booksley, his AKA, if you will, right?
Yeah, Moot Booksley.
Tell us how that came about.
Okay, so this is the story as I remember it, right? So, 1998, I'm in high school. I'm like probably in 10th grade. Me and my friends are like hanging out and just doing stupid things that high school kids do, like make up silly names for each other. And we like give each other these like business cards with our silly names
that's
on
funny.
it. And the one that they came up with me was my friend Jason and my friend Deirdre. And like it was Moot Booksley. And I just thought that was like
They just played off your real
Played
name.
off my real
but in a funny
name.
sounding
Yeah.
word.
and so
Yeah.
to make it even more ridiculous, I added the umlauts over the
Yeah,
O's,
it's kind
you
of-
know?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
the-
yeah.
And then like I took German class and I heard the German teacher pronounce it with the umlauts and I'm like, that sounds stupid, so I got rid of the umlauts.
How does it sound
Yeah.
with them?
It's like Meat Beaksley, you know? Yeah. It's got
Yeah,
the
that's not
E.
good.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Funny.
No.
So on your YouTube page, it says your description says old school style having, funk possessing, record producing, crate digging, gear geeking, knob tweaking, fun loving musician, among other things. And I think that's a perfect description of you.
Well, that's cool. I'm glad.
What do you dig in crates for?
Records.
Records.
That's crate
right?
digging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought
You're so young.
Well, I'm older than him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, okay.
Barely.
Well, I guess I've been around DJs, and that's a term DJs use.
Yeah,
a lot,
I mean,
too.
I don't know. I guess.
I don't do so much of that these days. I've
Yeah.
just like been purging my record collection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like you get into this like compulsive thing where it's like every time, oh, there's some records. Oh, gotta stop what I'm doing. Look through all the records. That's just, there's not enough time in the world to listen to all those records.
So, as a songwriter, you've been doing this. Where'd you grow up? Excuse me, can't talk.
Tennessee, East
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
All right.
I can hear it in your voice a
Oh,
little
yeah.
bit. Yeah.
It's, you know, you don't completely lose it. And if I go back and visit, like I'll be talking like that for
Yeah.
2 weeks. But
Oh, fun.
So, East Tennessee.
yeah,
What'd your dad do?
he's an electrician.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that ties in with the synthesizer.
Oh yeah, and I used to love
Interesting.
like, you know, when I would like go my parents split when I was really young, but like I, you know, I've always had a good relationship with my dad. But like, you know, we've stayed in touch and everything, and like I would go visit him and he would like show me all of his electrical books and stuff, and I was super into that. I really wanted to do that until I found
wow.
out there was all this like math involved. Like so
And what did your mom do when you were growing up?
Mom has always been into like caregiving, like taking care of elderly. Like
Okay.
she used to take care of all kinds of like Alzheimer's patients and stuff like
Okay.
that.
Interesting.
So, you play a multitude of instruments. Where did that come from?
My mom's side, well, really both sides of my family, but my mom's side of the family are all very musical and all very in the church. Like,
Oh, so
Okay.
you come from a church background.
oh, hugely, yeah.
Okay.
Like Pentecostal, Tennessee church. Like I used to
Snakes
play
and
Hammond
stuff?
B3 organ. No,
Oh,
no,
No
nice.
snakes?
no snakes. More like, you know, James Brown, you know. Like,
Oh, okay.
yes, I used to play, you know, Hammond organ and like, you
That's
know,
why
very
you're
loud.
so good at the organ.
And would you sing and?
Oh, yeah, all the stuff,
That's
you know,
awesome.
just very musical family. You know, my mom plays piano very well, and, you know, a lot of her, like, brothers and sisters sing.
Yeah.
So I was around it from the time I was
Yeah, well, my entire family, everybody in our family, I played in my mom's band when I was 14.
Yeah,
so,
so
yeah,
cool.
I know exactly where you come
Yeah.
from. Maybe that's why we work so well together.
How about that?
Could be. But you play drums, you play bass, you play
Guitar, sax, trumpet,
sax, trumpet. What?
Yeah.
I know.
Interesting.
pretty much anything, you know.
If you go out there and get his albums on Spotify or purchase them, not just download them, whatever.
Just steal them. That's what everybody
Just
does.
steal them. Well, it's not really stealing now.
No.
It's just subscriptions. It's
Yeah, I get my,
just
fair
stream
share,
it.
my 0.00006 cents.
It's pretty sad, isn't it?
yeah.
There's
Whatever it
actually
is.
one royalty that you get that's nothing, and then it continues to be 0.001, like because the
Yeah.
rounding issue.
Oh.
You ever see that? You ever look at the state where there's like one that's just all
No.
zeros?
Oh, boy.
It's really bizarre.
Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Bandcamp's been the only thing that's actually paid me money.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this podcast and you do hear the air conditioning noise, we decided to leave the air conditioners on and let them come on. I can kind of hear it.
It gets.
Yeah. It's
Welcome to Florida.
God, this chair is gonna kill me.
Never mind the fact that it's January, it's Florida.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
hot.
I'm gonna
It's hot.
take a break and just turn this down because that's really
It
loud.
was really loud, actually, and
Oh.
but it feels good.
I'll do some kind of a cut there of some
Okay.
sort. It'll turn off in a minute.
Yeah.
It needs a second. There it goes.
Wow, that's a big difference.
Yeah. Okay, so you grew up around music.
Yeah.
When did you? Because you are one of the first people on YouTube. I think one of your synthesizer videos was one of the first viral videos. Am I correct on that?
As far as like
Or not-
anything involving synthesizers.
The ghetto talk box.
No, the synthesizer video was first.
Oh, okay.
That was like 2006. So YouTube was
Very beginning.
very new, and I just like jumped on it right away. And I'm like,
Interesting.
on a whim, making this like I never make this like Goa trance electronic music, but like
Yeah.
it just on a whim decided to do that. And next thing you know, like back in those days when YouTube was a very small, sort of insular.
And there were a lot of rules
community.
back then for YouTube.
Oh,
Length
well,
of the video and all that
Yep,
stuff.
100 megabytes, 10
Yep.
minutes.
Yep.
I mean, so it had to be pretty, crap quality, really, to, like, get it all in there if it was going
Yeah.
to be several minutes long. So I was using some horrible, video editing, like, from a high 8 camcorder.
Nice.
And
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I mean, like, really low res, but that thing ended up on the front page of YouTube, and which back in the
Oh.
day was, like, that
was
was like the
huge.
big time, as big as you could
Yeah.
get on there. So, overnight I'm getting flooded with all of these, notifications, you
Yeah.
know, and I'm at my day job that I used to do, working behind a desk. And like I'm thinking my account got hacked or something. I thought,
Oh,
wow.
no,
That's
something
funny.
really bad has happened. And then like as it started to come in more and more, I noticed, I think I understand what's happening because we
Yeah.
couldn't look at it at work. So
Wow.
yeah, I had to just go through that whole day in suspense.
So how many hits in like one day?
Like 600,000 or something, but like that's a
Wow.
lot.
That's a
for,
lot in
you
one
know,
day.
Like it hit that very quickly.
Especially back then.
Yeah, and I don't remember exactly like how much it got to, but it eventually got over 1 million views.
So what does this number mean to you? 6,468,232
Like total views. Of
total
my
views
video.
as of this afternoon.
Oh, okay, wow.
That's pretty
Interesting.
good.
Yeah, that happened 3 times. That whole viral thing.
Yeah.
So just got lucky, I guess.
So what are you making? Like $8 a year off of those?
No, I don't know. I don't.
You
get
don't
that
have to
much.
tell me the
Yeah.
exact figure. It's not
Because see, that's the thing.
financial
Is like
thing.
when I was hot on YouTube for that, because you have to really keep that momentum going.
Right,
you know?
you do.
And I had some illness and stuff really bad, and it took me out of the game for a long time. So
Well, let's
Yeah.
talk about that because I remember, I'm going to say 10 to 12 years ago, maybe even more, maybe
2008.
2008, I met you.
Yeah.
And several people had said to me, you need to meet this guy. You guys need to make some music together. And you were a little aloof. And I was just kind of like, what's wrong with this guy? Why doesn't he want to make music with me? I have a studio in my home.
Stuck up.
And I won't charge you to record. I want to make some music. And I think I reached out to you through MySpace or Facebook or something.
wow.
That would have been the time
MySpace.
for MySpace.
And you were real vague, and I was like, well, okay, maybe I gave this guy the wrong opinion or something. But now you were going through your own stuff. You were going through some medical issues and stuff.
In and out of the hospital all that year, yeah, and just like, I ended up losing my day job over it because I just couldn't keep working, and I had this lung condition. I'm not going to go into it.
Having a day job's not a good thing sometimes if you want to be a musician.
Oh, I totally believe that subconsciously I manifested that because of the way it all came down. Yeah. That's a whole other topic. But anyway, like that was sort of the catalyst that pushed me out of that comfort zone of having a day job. And
what was it exactly that you did?
I worked for Collier County in facilities management, manning all of the surveillance cameras for all the, county facilities.
You must have seen some interesting things.
We had all kinds of fun, but
mostly people having sex on the street.
No, mostly people like running over themselves with their own car in the
That's awesome.
like drunk people. Yeah, coming to court. Yeah.
That's great.
Wow.
Yeah, we had a file of like the silly,
What else?
So anyway, that was like a very demanding job, but it was kind of a thing that, hang your personality on the coat rack when you go in and don't really don't be too much of an individual because,
that's how most office jobs are.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's to be understood, any sort of thing, you got to stay with the structure. And I don't do that very well.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's like subconsciously, it was like my body found some psychosomatic way of getting me out of the situation.
But you actually had illnesses.
Oh, I've been sickly all my life, I've had all kinds of stuff. I had tuberculosis when I was 16.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So the last few years, we've had a lot of talks on our gigs where there's nothing else to do because there's nobody in the club to talk to on the break. But that's another topic. But the last 3 years, you said you've kind of got your act together on a personal level and medically, and you lost some weight.
Bunch of weight.
Yeah.
Like 50 pounds.
50 pounds of weight.
That's a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you write a song about it?
No, but I should, right?
What is my weight right now? Sorry.
I know you're a very spiritual person from our talks. Does that come from your religious background, or is it?
Okay, well,
explain the
I will
difference.
articulate that. Yeah, so that's sort of a sticky topic.
And I want to talk about this because your songwriting is reflected heavily on this.
Well, I've gone through a lot of changes in that regard. Like, I think what it is like if you're a person that is just sort of bent to more of a spiritual worldview, I think some of that like shows itself early in your life. And some of us choose to just like ignore it and sort of just go on about our business. Some of us, if like we come up in a religious household, that's what it's going to be channeled through is the religious, And otherwise, it's like you're kind of left to your own devices to figure all this stuff out. Like, why are we here? What are we, what is this all about? Is there a God? Blah, blah, blah. And of course, for me, it's like there is no other answer. It's what the Bible says, and that's it. And, it's dictated to you very clearly. This is what it is.
Yeah.
That was you growing up. Yeah.
That's what you were taught.
Yeah. And I'm not knocking anybody, who is in religion or anything like that, because I'm very sensitive to that, obviously, having grown up that way. But just some experiences that I've had over the last few years have...
We talk about the universe telling us and giving us signs, and we joke joke a lot about number sequences.
I'm that way, too.
Yeah, so have you had an out-of-body experience?
Yeah. Actually, it was an out-of-body experience like that triggered the whole thing. That was just like, I felt like it had never, I've
Did you write a song about it?
Yes.
Finally, somebody said yes to that question.
Several. It's like all that everything's about now, but in a roundabout way. No, it's something very profound. Like, I've had a lot of depression and whatever throughout my life and pain and whatever. So I've tried every drug there is, you name it. And
on the last podcast, that question came up, and I said, "Have you done crystal meth?"
Yes.
You have. Wow.
Yes. 3 times.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it fun?
It was not. I don't know. I see how people get hooked on it, but it wasn't for me. It was just like, being super anxious and tense for like 8 hours.
And
Like,
crystal
that's
meth is probably an old drug now, but I don't know anything about drugs, so I'm just assuming
I'm
that's
Which
that
one was the
whole
best
thing,
one?
too.
Is that a bad question?
mushrooms, probably, right?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised about that.
Oh boy, I'm not going to advocate for drugs
Yeah.
of any sort. But anyway, I think there are things that are beneficial and there are things that are not.
More of the
and-
natural things, not the chemical things.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. But, a
So tell us
lifetime
about
of
your
hard
out-of-body
knocks.
experience.
Well, anyway, so this thing was unlike any sort of drug experience I had ever had. It wasn't like anything I could compare it to. And I had had sort of what you would call religious experiences, mystical experiences, whatever, through the church, that like were very profound and life-changing. But this was a whole different thing.
Yeah.
I was just sitting on my friend's couch and I left my body and I felt myself go out into this like it was like you're hovering over the surface of the sun.
Wow.
And the sun, it was like and it felt like the sun was like this giant engine that runs the universe. Like this is the core of infinity itself. Like this is creation happening. And it was like I felt myself like orbiting this thing, and I noticed that like everything I could think of, people, places, things, ideas, goals I had in life, were also like orbiting this thing.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And it was like every once
That's
in a while
deep.
I would converge with one of these things. And it's like, okay, well, it really kind of sent me into this depression because I was like, is it all random? Like, like there's no plan to any of this. It's just like random. And I couldn't attest to
Right.
that. It's just that really broke my brain.
If I don't work hard, I won't get success.
All those
Yeah.
kind of stupid things of like, maybe it doesn't mean anything. Maybe it's just like all the connections we have in life are random.
Right.
But that was
Like
again,
a pinball machine.
that was a catalyst that made me ask that question, and I couldn't stop until I found out, what is this about? Why am I here?
So you were on a
Et cetera.
mission, not from God, but from the universe.
Yeah, whatever you want
Or
to
whatever
call
your
it.
God is.
Yeah,
Or
it's
Maybe
like,
you were roofied. Just kidding.
Oh, wow. I didn't think of that.
I have a side project called Roofy the dog. That's
Oh, wow.
That's right.
Yeah, really, really absurd music.
You have a lot of side
Awesome, I wanna
projects.
I
hear
do.
that.
I have a lot of music that I make. It's just like kind of silly.
Where do you think music comes from? And I only say that because I listened to your other podcast and the guy asked you that. From what was it?
Yeah, and I remember that being a really like
That's a
I was
great
kind
question.
of blown away by this.
So
this
I'm stealing
young-
his question.
That's a great.
What was that? Small Brain podcast?
Yeah, and he's a really young guy, and
Yeah,
I thought
he's a
that was
smart dude.
Pretty astute question to ask.
So where do
does
you
it
think
come
music
from?
comes from?
Well, here's what. Okay, I'm trying to put this in a very distilled way. Like I think that, there are all of these ideas, these creative ideas and inspiration that is out there in the ether, that we all have access to if we are tuned to it.
Right?
And I feel like if you happen to have skill at an instrument or singing or something, then you can then use that skill to channel this inspiration or whatever and funnel it into something tangible. And it just happens to be music. It might be visual art. It's like any sort of, I feel like
That's a
any
good way
kind
to
of
look at it.
creative thing comes from this same source. It's mysterious, but like it's definitely like I feel like this is what happens like when you and I are improvising and I will go for some ridiculously strange rhythm just on a whim. It'll just like occur to me on a split second and I'll go boop 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 boop. And you do the exact same
That
thing.
happens a lot.
And it happens a lot and we look at each other and it's like, what? We're just tapping into the same place, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's
Well, I
of
always
that, sort
the
of.
way I look at it is as a musician, you have a toolbox and you have a box of things you can pick from at any given time. It could be like you're saying in the
That's part of
universe
it.
out here, and you're picking from it. I look at it like it's all in here, and this is my chops. This is my
Yes.
stuff. But when you get to a certain level,
set of
those
parameters.
those chops are the same that other people would have in a certain level. Which
You're right.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad it took 8 years or 10 years or whatever for us to finally work together.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that I would have been at your level back then. You know, and
Vice
maybe
versa.
you weren't at mine. Yeah.
Oh, totally not. Yeah. And
so
I
the
don't-
universe put us together.
Oh yeah, the timing is always perfect. It doesn't matter how chaotic it looks.
So I have a couple questions here from some of your friends.
Oh really?
Yeah.
This ought to be good.
Matt Chadra.
Okay, cool.
He says, do you
Hey,
have
Matt.
any plans to form a band playing your original compositions? I have a strong desire to see songs like You've Arrived in a live setting.
Oh,
And we
I
have
couldn't
good-
stop thinking of Matt when we were playing it.
Well, we have good news for Matt when he watches this
Yeah.
because that's one of the
There
songs
it
that we
is.
recorded.
Yeah.
And it was fun.
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot. Matt's a cool dude, great multi-instrumentalist up in Illinois, Chicago area, and
So we just need to learn some more of your
yeah.
original music.
See, there you go, man.
Yeah.
And we
So
just
that was
gotta
we'll
get-
do.
You've arrived, though.
should-
Who did you write that about? Was
Yeah,
that,
let's talk about that.
that about yourself?
Yeah, what is that about?
See, don't you feel like that is like right on the brink of being a little narcissistic?
Possibly.
I've
mean-
always felt. Yeah,
I think it's about your alter ego. That's what I thought.
I never thought about it in that way. I mean, yeah, I really struggled with that a lot. The whole album that comes from is called Step Inside My Mind. And the whole thing was basically, the idea was to let the deepest part of my subconscious come out.
Yeah,
Okay, so like I would just hit record to a click track and just play an instrument and whatever came out, came out.
Really?
Yes. It was
Wow.
all channels.
That's
yeah.
crazy.
The whole thing. And then I would just go back and sort of tidy up when I fumbled on some words or whatever and sort of like structure a song and just build an arrangement around that. And that's why it's kind of this weird arrangement you've arrived.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So it's totally stream of consciousness.
Wow.
Wow.
And it's like every bit of it has taken on this really personal significance to me. It's like it felt like it was, however you want to interpret it. Go ahead.
So you didn't write it for somebody about somebody. It just
Came
happened.
out.
It was like it felt very much in the moment like a message to me. Like this was something
But
I
not
needed
from
to
you.
hear
Therapy in a way.
from the deepest part of myself. You want to call it your higher self
Sure.
or your, God.
And what
whatever,
year was this?
2013 was when that first
13.
happened. Yeah.
So you were
Okay.
still in your sick phase.
Well, in a way, I was very depressed. I was
You were in the depression phase.
Super deep depression in 2013. Yeah, just horrible. Yeah, there was a lot of dark years.
And what got you out of that?
Yeah.
Music?
Yeah. Music was like this sustaining thing. You know what it was? Like I think sometimes about like why we have nostalgia for certain things, and I feel like a lot of times if you'll look at what was happening around whatever the nostalgic thing is, it's a lot of times it's because it provided a lot of contrast. Like I was very depressed, so music that I was making in that time or listening to in that time feels extra good to me now to like
Right.
revisit
Interesting,
because
yeah.
my memory of it was like it being this huge solace from this dark place I was in.
It was the only thing that uplifted you.
Yeah. So I think it takes on extra significance sometimes if you're,
Sure.
Yeah.
in whatever.
What brought you to that dark depression, though? Do you know? You just kind of
Because
slid
he didn't
into
form a
it,
band with
or-
me 10 years ago.
Yes, I missed the boat and I just kicking, all kinds of stuff, past wounds from, living, having a single parent situation and just all kinds of mental blockages that I couldn't get past, just things from early on that just kept me really doing really unhealthy things
And this
like
is
drugs
turning
and whatever.
30. This was
Right.
around the 30 mark, right?
Around 30 something changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, something big just lifted. Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, let's go ahead and play You've Arrived. This is a good time to play that. So here's You've Arrived by Moot Booksley, also known as Matt Baxley.
Music Studio Live presents Matt Baxley, a.k.a. Moot Booksley, with the song You've Arrived.
more information on Moot Booksley, aka Matt Baxley, go to his YouTube channel at Moot Booksley, his Instagram at Moot Booksley, or his Facebook at Matt Not Moot. You're tuned into Music Studio Live. So I think Sarah had a question for you, something about a business card. Go, take it away.
Oh, it's not a question.
Oh, it's not a question.
It's just a funny little story because, oh boy, maybe 7 years ago, I met you at the Bay House, possibly.
Probably.
And I was playing there at the Bay House on other nights, and
Yep.
I heard about you and Mark V and everybody. And anyway, so I was like, I need to go out and just listen to you guys. And I remember I met you, and I thought you were incredible.
Aw.
And I said, hey, would you mind sometime maybe giving me a keyboard lesson?
Oh.
You know, just to kind of, you know, I feel like you can always grow, right?
He's
As a
pretty
musician.
funky. He can give you some
so,
funk.
yeah, totally. So anyway, so you were like, here's my business card. You know, you can call me anytime. So I'm sorry.
What?
This is
What
hilarious.
happened?
Like, no, this is already
Oh
sounding
my
like...
God. Well, I don't know. I have kept your business card. It's like on my nightstand
you still
next
have
to
it?
where I sleep. Like, I don't know
that's
why.
hilarious.
I have 6,000 business cards of tons of people, but yours is like just right.
Does your husband
I wake up and I look at it.
Does your husband know that you have Matt's
Yeah.
business card next to your
Cool.
bed?
It's cool.
That's
Not like
That's
it's really good.
hilarious.
But anyway, I know, like I'm turning red talking
But
about it.
you've never called him.
man.
I never called you. No,
No, I was going to say, like, you never used it.
I
Like-
know. Well, I think I put it there because I was like, I need to do this
One of these days.
one of these days, and just, you know, like
Man.
sit down with you. But it's just so funny.
You know
It's
how that
like
is.
on my nightstand. Like, why? Why there? Like, why didn't I put it
That's
on
funny.
my piano or something in my head? Like, no.
Or in your music room or something.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Suppose that's
So,
flattering.
That's funny.
I mean, I know exactly what your business card looks like. Like,
Wow.
it's
I don't even
burned
know what
Is
it
it the
looks like.
is it the orange looking one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's been a while. Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
So, that's
So
it.
let's go back to songwriting.
Okay.
I want to know.
It's hilarious.
I want to know because I've written an album where I just did the drums first and then put the keyboards on it later.
Interesting.
And you were just saying that that's kind of you did a keyboard part first and then wrote the song around that. Do you ever hear everything in your head like a finished product when you sit down to write? Or are you just going blind at it? You don't know what it's going to be like at the end.
Yes.
Okay.
No, it depends.
Both.
Yeah,
Interesting.
both. Yeah, it's like there's sometimes when it's a total like this. I really feel like my best stuff happens when I don't feel in that moment very inspired. It seems like a lot of the time, the moment I'm just doing it because it's like a compulsion to like I just feel like I should just record right now and start playing and singing if it's a guitar or whatever, and it doesn't feel anything special. I'll just like save it, go to bed. The next day, it's like, what is this? It's like a
Yeah.
surprise, you know? And to me, like, that's when the best stuff happens. Sometimes when it's like I have this gigantic orchestrated thing in my head, which happens a lot, like when I'm driving or in the shower
Oh,
or
yeah.
somewhere, where you
can't write
do
it down. Yeah.
By the time I get to where I can do it, it just
Yeah.
it loses some of the
Cell phones have helped.
A lot.
I have tons of notes, audio notes,
Oh, geez, me
voice
too.
memos. Yeah.
I got the 4-track on here. I just like sing a bunch of harmonies.
Oh, you do all the parts on your phone?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So let's talk about What Is the Time, the other song that we
Yeah.
did. Where did that come from? Now that was a partnership album, right?
Okay, so what happened was
That came
Dan
from?
Banks
Yeah.
and I were musical partners, songwriting partners, and I had that song. And okay, first of all, it was kind of like, Matt, I would like you to help me produce my songs and make an album. So it was going to be his record, and I was just going to produce it. But as we collaborated more, we kind of hit it off and just really like started writing songs together and just improvising, basically trying to do with two people what I was used to doing by myself, the whole stream of consciousness thing, and see, you know, and so we wrote some tunes. And it became like, well, why don't we just make it a duo project? So
Okay.
to unify it more and make it more of a duo thing, we sort of brought that tune in that I was already working on and made it sort of blend But it was already a tune, that I had like in 2007, something like that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So what is the song about?
What is the time?
Yeah.
No.
Come on, Darrell.
I'm just kidding. No, I mean, it was, there might not be a whole lot of substance to it necessarily verbally, but I feel like the vibe, the whole feeling
The
of
vibe
it,
is awesome.
I love it.
and I was going for a certain vibe of unity, just like how can we all get along and how can we all feel safe and happy.
So the time is now.
Yeah, it's just like, well, yeah, if kind of like, I guess my version of like Todd Rundgren's "If Not Now, When."
There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Love
let's go ahead and play What Is the Time? In Music Studio Live with Matt Baxley. That's my DJ. Look.
Moot Booksley. Music Studio Live presents Matt Baxley, a.k.a. Moot Booksley, with his song, What Is the Time?
What is the time when I can go outside and let the sunshine warm my bones? What is the time when I can feel alright inside my mind when I'm alone? What is the time when I'll be safe to walk around along the street? Where is a place that I can go to find myself a bite to eat? Hey, am I waiting here in vain for an imaginary train? Am I chasing after dreams that blow away? What is the time? I need to know for my peace of mind. Will it come soon? And all my dreams will be coming true. All my dreams will be coming true. Yeah, all my dreams will be coming true. If I came and knocked upon your door and asked you for some help, would you decline if clearly there was nothing in it for yourself? I am the voice of every man and woman, every boy and girl. What is the time when we can get along with everybody in the world? Hey, am I waiting here in vain for an imaginary train? Am I chasing after dreams that
Be sure and visit our website at musicstudiolive.com. There you'll find all of our social media links.
This is Music Studio Live. I guess I'm just kind of curious, like, how did you stop doing drugs and things like that? Like, what was it that
What was that? What was that?
Was it? I used to do drugs.
Yeah.
I mean, I still do,
but I used to
too. Yeah. Yeah.
What's that from?
That's Mitch Hedberg. He
Yeah.
died years ago, but he was a funny comedian.
Okay. Basically, that came from the whole spirituality thing that sort of just opened up, it just naturally started happening, where, like, I started to notice, like, I think the first thing I quit after that was, like, nicotine. Like, I used to, on again, off again with nicotine, and just, like, I started to notice that, like, as soon as I would do it, it's like, bring me down. Like, whatever, it just, you start to become more sensitive to those things, and it just was like, this ain't working for me anymore. And just, like, slowly but surely, same with the weight. Everything just, like, as a matter of changing the mind, everything else,
So you lost the
Falls into
weight
place.
just from changing your diet and did you exercise?
not
Because you don't
much
seem
more.
Yeah, you're in the studio all the time like I am.
Yeah, I should really exercise more than I do. But it mostly was just stopping sodas,
Yeah.
sugary
Of course,
drinks
sugar.
of any kind. Trying to not do so much of the, junk food, more vegetables. But not anything crazy. Really,
You
just like...
still eat Almond Joys.
That's right.
We saw them in your bag.
I don't believe in resistance. Like, I've tried that my whole life.
Yeah.
Resisting things. You need to just let yourself do, and,
You know what my big diet cheat is?
What?
And I'm proud of it because I've lost, at this point, 14 pounds.
That's great.
On Friday nights, late after a gig, or if I'm at the studio and then I go home like at midnight, I'll make a big, huge salad. And it makes me so happy.
It is satisfying, man. And I used to hate
That's
that
my
stuff.
cheat.
That's great.
Because I don't eat
It's
after
filling,
7.
Oh,
I don't eat
yeah,
after
I
7
mean-
anymore during the week.
Oh.
Friday's the only day I cheat.
I don't know. I've got to have chocolate and chocolate.
Chocolate.
Well, you have
Caramel.
3 kids. You need
Ice cream.
something to go to.
You do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Cheeseburgers.
Well, Matt, is there anything else that you'd like to say on the podcast
Well, I'm
here?
curious.
Oh, you got more things?
I have one more question.
Okay.
So we didn't quite finish on, you had that out of body experience, right? And then you said that you were really curious as to why we're here, what's the purpose, things like that. So are you still exploring that, or have you kind of settled that within yourself? I mean,
To
Yeah.
a great degree, yeah.
and how did that?
blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
Very hard things to. It's very hard to unseat a whole belief system and a whole thing that you've put your entire being into, which was for me Christianity as it is taught in the church, and it just like to completely just like start to have new thoughts that are like, whoa, this version of me is
It's
not
real hard to have new thoughts.
It is. It is. Most of we don't realize how much of everything that we think every day is just recycled
Not just religion.
From the yeah.
Anything from our childhood.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff is just kind of set in, early on, and so to even be open to trying any new ideas was, super taboo. And I knew that it would be, boy, it really is a deep subject because it's like I wrote 2 books like over the last 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I totally
Yeah,
forgot
and
that.
Where
It's like,
where
yeah.
are those? Can
One of
people
them is
read
published
those?
that's on
Okay.
Amazon. Yeah.
What's it
And
called?
It's called Blinded by the Light.
Okay.
Okay, so like that was sort of the beginning of it. Was like my friend Rex and I, like, we got super deep into. This is what led to all of this, really. Maybe this is relevant, and maybe you need to insert
No, it
this
is. I think it
somewhere.
is.
This is a big chunk of the story. So, like, he's a guy who I was working for as an arranger, co-songwriter, whatever. He just kind of had me, like, on retainer, sort of, just being, helping him do music and
produce.
put out music and try to write songs to pitch to different things. And we had done this Christmas album. and wrote some original tunes. And they sort of had more of a religious bent to them. And he said, I have a great idea. Why don't we start doing some more? I guess he was starting to get more in touch with that. Like earlier in his life, he had been very religious, and, you know, I was very religious at the time, and so it was like very pulling him toward that. And so we sort of like both decided to really like dive headfirst into this.
Okay.
Well, so of course, you know, me and him both being really kind of grandiose, like decided, let's make a concept album, and it's going to be on the Book of Revelation.
Okay.
The apocalypse, and you know,
wow.
Yeah. And so really it didn't take us very long, you know, poking around at this idea to realize that, oh, we better like understand what this even says and means, because
was this before or after the out-of-body experience?
this is long before.
Okay,
This is like
thank gosh.
this is 2014.
Okay.
And yeah, like that it became apparent right away that he had completely different ideas about it all, because he had been raised in the Catholic Church, and they, you know, have different teachings about what happens at the end and all that. So we delved into it really strongly and started finding all this stuff that was really uncomfortable about biblical concepts and doctrines and whatever, and ended up writing this whole book about why Paul the Apostle is a bad guy, because his stuff doesn't square with the teachings of Christ.
Okay.
And so that's what the whole book is about. And so, you know, that's why I don't really push it, because it's like, it's kind of antagonistic, but it's very scholarly and very well researched. We did whole, you know, we did like online classes at Yale. I mean, like
Wow.
we really,
Jeez.
yeah, we put
Wow,
all
lot
of
of
our
energy.
time. Yes, but it started making me ask more questions than it
Right.
answered for
Right.
me, you know. But it finally made me get down to the nitty gritty of what do I actually believe anyway, you know. And so I wandered in the wilderness for a couple of years, feeling like I had just completely walked away from my faith. You know, my family thought I was like, you know, lost, and just like feeling completely like, what do I even know anymore? I don't know about any of it.
Yeah.
And then this experience happened to me, which made me question even further,
Right.
but ultimately led me to where I wanted to go to begin with.
How was the book written, and how long did it take to do?
Well, the two of us would like kind of volley it back and forth, chapter by chapter, and like I would do proofreading, and then he would revise, and like, you know, just back and forth, and it took a couple of years.
Couple years.
Wow.
And then we wrote a whole second book that isn't quite finished, and it's just life happens, and you know,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. And I've moved on so much from that line of thinking that it's actually very difficult for me now to even get back into that headspace to write. But the second book was a lot more emotionally involved, and like it was kind of like it was in the form of a diary.
Oh.
And like we kind of made this composite character based upon him and myself, like our religious experiences growing up, and how you know all the stuff that we found wrong or whatever with the church, and you know, kind of like sort of making this fictionalized version of how we left that.
Telling the story through a third person. That's a combo of you
Yeah.
guys.
It was gonna, you know, I mean, hopefully we'll finish it sometime, but yeah, it is difficult when you've sort of, you know, you're in a different headspace.
Yeah.
Well, we've been, speaking of time, we've been trying to get together and record an album of us. And we've set a couple dates, and then life happens, and you're just like, we got it. Well, when season's over and our lives calm down musically a little bit, hopefully we can make time for that. But Matt, I want to thank you.
I want to thank you, and thank you,
Thank
sir.
you
for
so much.
for being on the podcast and bringing your music to us.
It's a pleasure.
It's great, man.
And I promise I'll call you.
okay.
Listen.
And I promise I'll make myself available for us to record.
Oh, that would be nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks,
We're gonna do
buddy.
it. Thank you.
Music Studio Live is brought to you in part by defMEDIA Group, Matt Steeves Photography, and Sarah Hadeka Enterprises. And our tech guru is Brent BILLMAN. Thank you so much for watching our podcast. Go ahead and subscribe to our channel now, and then hit the little bell icon for future updates. Music Studio Live is a live performance podcast that also talks with singers, songwriters, and music makers about music, songwriting, and life.